What is it good for?
Not your wiener.
Really?
Never at all.
Unfortunately not. Nope. Well, maybe a little.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we have discussed cosplay before. Well, we're going to come back to it again, and not just because I'm currently dressed as Wonder Woman. We're coming back to it this time because there's been a lot of discussion recently on the interwebs that you might have heard of about why people cosplay. And we wanted to really get into that and discuss it here on the show, because there seem to be two different ideas going out depending on which set of genitals you were assigned at birth. So, gentlemen, why do you think people cosplay?
I think people cosplay because it's a way for them to get their outlet and to show their geek colors and to dress as your favorite character.
Okay, you live in an ideal universe full of unicorns and ponies and things along those lines.
Yeah.
Why do you think people cosplay?
Well, I know what I think, but I think a lot of people have the misconception that women cosplay because they want guys to be staring at them. But I think in reality, it's like they want to look good. Mm-hmm. They want to show what they're excited about.
Because I hate to break it, like, guys don't seem to get that women find men staring at them really creepy and threatening. Like, there's this idea, I think because men like staring at women, that therefore the women must like being stared at. And that's not how it works in general. There are exceptions, of course. There are plenty of women who are like, by the way, I'm beautiful, please admire my beauty.
Yeah, they go into modeling and stuff like that.
But in general, if you're, say, this is why, for example, construction workers, your stereotypical construction workers, don't get dates by shouting catcalls at women. That doesn't work, because it's creepy. It also doesn't work at science fiction conventions, because it's creepy.
Yeah, at least the construction workers are showing that they're employed. So it's still not helping them.
Yeah.
So, we're going to dig into some of the reasons why women get into cosplay, because I think that a lot of men, other than this one obviously, who, by the way, the married guy gets it, we're going to dig into this in a little bit more detail for those of you that are like, but why would they be dressed like that if they didn't want me to think that they were for sale?
Well, just a quick disclaimer. I do like it because the girls are sexy, but I do recognize why they do it,
Mm-hmm.
and for that I appreciated what they do. But even when we do interviews and stuff like that, we ask the right questions, and we generally want to know, like, why is it that you do, what's your inspiration and stuff like that, because we are interested in those kinds of things, and I think that everybody should be.
So in addition to the noble things that he has going on, I would say one of the main reasons that obviously anybody gets into it is to exhibit your fandom, just to show what it is you love. It's an instant icebreaker no matter where you go. The same way that a t-shirt is. Like, you know, looking at him, he not only likes Game of Thrones, but is probably on the side of House Stark.
The North remembers. We ain't gonna forget.
And people might be able to guess if they look at me, I like, I don't know, what do you think I like?
Batwoman?
Close. I thought you were going to say My Little Pony, or because girls are into that, right?
Yeah,
That's
right.
the Anglo male centric.
Oh, I'm sorry. With these colors, it's Superman, right?
It's Superman.
Supergirl! Wait, no.
Supergirl.
No.
Wonder Girl.
Zod.
I do
Yeah,
actually
that's
like
right.
Zod. That's true, to be honest.
We will figure
I
it
cosplay
out.
players.
Kidding aside, we understand it's Wonder Woman.
But the point is, instant icebreaker about whatever it is, because you're literally wearing your fandom in a big public display way, and both men and women do this. Like, you've dressed up as Kick-Ass before.
Yeah.
And
I kicked ass.
And I've also got my TARDIS dress. I mean, I read the Doctor Who cookbook and whatnot, and I love being able to have that as a conversation starter when I'm at conventions. In addition to it being just that instant conversation starter, it's also a great way to make friends and get into group cosplay. Because, okay, you've met with, like, hey, you hate the Lannisters too, right?
Let's get vengeance!
Let's both dress up as though we're from Dorne!
That'd be awesome.
Yay!
That's where parties happen in Dorne. I want to go to a Dorne cosplay party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, so do I. That would,
Yeah.
I like the costumes as well as liking the culture of Dorne.
Oh, yeah.
I could cook for it.
Ah.
See, this spontaneous conversation, which we actually did not script because we can't remember lines when we try to script things, is the type of thing you will get into in real life at a convention when you just start a conversation with someone else that's dressed similarly to you. And what'll happen is if you're, say, new in town or you're a student or whatever, and you're like, you're actually here in town? You did not drive from out of town with us?
Yeah, that's always like the best feeling, because then it's like you can actually see these people later on in life, and not just once a year at that convention.
Yeah.
You know, you can like build relationships that can last a lifetime.
And then you can get together outside of the convention, you're making your costumes, you have built up a community. This is something that a lot of women really, really love about cosplay. And a lot of the reason that you'll see women that are in costumes that might not be their 100% favorite fandom. Like, if I was honestly representing my favorite fandoms right now, I'd be wearing this, because Doctor Who, or I'd be dressed as Mystique. But Mystique is not really an age and weight appropriate costume for me the way that she's portrayed, so I don't cosplay as that. Nothing wrong with people that, are my weight that do, just not how I choose to go out. But if I was in a big group cosplay with other people, you'd be going through like, okay, what are your top 5 characters? Who do we have representing what? And you might be your 3rd tier character. And that's where the people that are assholes that'll walk up and be like, oh, you think you hate the Lannisters? Well, prove it to me. Cite every single line of every single book from Game of Thrones. Or whatever the haters are going to do. And they don't get the community aspect where, okay, you didn't get to be Rogue this time because somebody else really wanted to be Rogue and she's a natural brunette and she's willing to dye a big white stripe, and you're blonde and would be wearing a wig. It's okay to compromise on these things, and so that everyone can do it together. Because I really hate it when guys will come up to women in cosplay and do that quiz thing.
Oh, yeah. They act like they're entitled. It's like, first of all, people have different... Just because you're in the cosplay or you have a costume on doesn't mean you know everything about it, and you don't have to.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's like people will get into certain characters for different reasons. Someone can be cosplaying as Iron Man, and they've only seen the movies.
Yeah.
And that's fine. You don't have to be like, well, from the original 1965 Iron Man comic book. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know, just from my experience, it's hard to find somebody dressed as a comic book character and not have them know anything about them,
It's almost impossible.
But when it comes to video game characters, you kind of get a little bit of that disparity, I guess, to where it's like, well, I don't really know, like King of Fighters, it's a fighting game, and there's a guy named Kyo, and a chick dresses up as him, but may not know a whole lot about that character, and you'd have to do a whole deep thing or grow up with the game since like the early 90s. But the point is that she just likes the way this character looks. And like, you know what? Well, I made this cool jacket with the cool sun symbol on it, and I got the white bandana and the jeans and all the cool stuff down, and I look super cool doing it. The amount of research
you have to do to get all that...
Yeah.
To do all that and have it look screen accurate is so insane that I find that almost everyone I've ever talked to in costume knows more about the characters than anybody that's just wearing a t-shirt.
Exactly. And then, but when you see somebody actually take the time to dress as that character, and then you go like, well, do you even know what game this dude originated from? It's like, well, no, but I did take the time that it took to make a fucking jacket out of it because I thought the character looked that damn cool.
Or I've only played 4 of the games that this character was in, and I really enjoyed the 4 of them.
Exactly.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
There isn't anything wrong. And even if you never played the games, there's nothing wrong. If you like the way a character looks, like tons of people dress up as Samus from Metroid. And I'd be hard-pressed. Well, it wouldn't even actually matter. If they played the games or not, everyone knows that Samus is a cool-looking female hero.
Yeah.
So everybody wants to see a Samus, so why would you hold that against the person?
But my personal experience with... Have you actually met a lot of women that don't know anything about these characters? Because the women that I've met when I've interviewed them for Fanboy TV... even if they didn't start knowing a lot, the process of making it and the research you have to do, they've got incredible, like, seriously encyclopedic knowledge because they took that long to make these costumes. Right,
and you might as well just learn the history of it.
Well, it's not even you might as well. Like, you have no choice. If you're going to do it well, it's going to end up in your head.
Right.
So there's a lot of that to it. There's also the act of being creative is a huge part of it. Like, a lot of us, I don't know about you, stare into a monitor all day and you watch pixels change, and at the end of the day, if someone asks what you did, you could say, well, there was some light things that turned off and on in different colors, and tomorrow the pixels are going to change again, and you don't have anything to show for it. But if you made this, you have something physical in the real world to show for it, and that is precious in this day and age when most of us are just, again, watching pixels change. If you can do it in a way that involves other people and is social, even better. But even if you're doing it by yourself at home, you're going to go out and it will start a conversation. Yay!
Yeah, it's one of those things that's very gratifying to be able to create something, especially when it's something that you can actually physically touch. It's like one thing for like to create something digitally, and like that's awesome, but something that occupies physical space. It's like I don't know what it is. I guess it's just a psychological thing.
It is a difference. I mean, like with my books, for example, they are effectively done as soon as I have all the files ready to be uploaded and sent to the publisher. And it's not any different than getting the physical version, except it totally is, man! When I hold it in my hand for the first time and open those pages, I know exactly what's going to be on those pages. I took all the photos, I wrote all the words, I laid everything out. I know what's there. But just touching it makes such a difference.
When you get the book, do you say, by the power of Grayskull? That's totally what I would do.
I haven't actually done a He-Man cookbook.
Ah, yet.
Another thing that people actually do get into, Heroes of Cosplay is coming back. Yeah, some people really get into the competition aspect of it. Now, this is an important point for those of you that are not into cosplay. Not everybody does. Most conventions these days, not the Comic-Cons that you guys go to, but most of the fan-run conventions that I grew up with have a masquerade as like their signature event. Like Saturday night, everybody goes to the masquerade, and then afterwards there's usually a dance. And the interesting thing about the masquerade is, I'd say less than 1/10 of the people in costume participate, and they're not the best 10th or anything. They're just the people that are willing to get up on stage. A lot of the best costumes are the hall costumes, where it's just, I'm just dressed like this because I want people to talk to me, and I'm cool.
Yeah.
So for the people that are into the competition, they tend to take it very, very seriously. And the people that aren't just want to socialize, and I think a lot of people confuse those two. Like, they think if you're in cosplay at all, that you're there to compete.
Yeah, it's like they only have like one notion and one idea of what cosplay is, and it's like, especially for the whole purpose of this episode, people cosplay for vastly different reasons. You know, some people like, do you just want to dress up like Batman?
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to dress up like Batman?
And the worst thing about a show like Heroes of Cosplay, it's not my favorite show, I apologize. The thing that I think that it does a disservice to fandom with is it creates in the minds of people that aren't into geek culture and haven't tried cosplay before, the idea that the only reason people are doing it is it's just catfight action time, lady upon lady violence over who can be the prettiest. And I have honestly never experienced that at a convention. Now, I don't participate in the masquerades. Maybe behind the scenes they're awful, but the people that I know that do participate in the masquerades, it's really not like what's portrayed on Heroes of Cosplay at all.
Yeah, all I've seen from like the girls that I know that cosplay is they tend to share a lot of knowledge. Like they tend to be friends or at least acquaintances. Where it's like, oh hey, how did you do that costume?
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot more community. I've yet to see anyone where they're actually like there's any cattiness. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Unless they're being
Not only
Catwoman.
that, but there's actually like where they correlate with each other and be like, oh hey, because like when we went to Alamo City,
Yeah,
one of
they
the
all have a
cosplayers
theme.
said like I was gonna dress up as Sakura today, but all the rest were Batman characters, so I decided to come in as Poison Ivy.
Yeah.
instead,
Exactly.
And I saved the other one for tomorrow. And
Yeah.
I was like, well, cool, that's awesome that they all get together, and like two of them had just met like one con prior to that, you know.
Well, and again, that comes back to the community aspect that I mentioned before that is
Yeah.
really, really appealing. It's just a factor of cosplay. Expressing your fandom, community, instant icebreaker. Now, one of the other things is it can make you feel pretty powerful. I mean, I'm not Wonder Woman in real life, believe it or not. I am a humble cookbook writer. But I feel pretty rockin' in this particular outfit. Confident enough to get on the interweb as an overweight woman dressed like this and talk to the lot of you. Yes, confidence. And some of that confidence is just, man, I'm not dressed the way I am at work, and that makes me feel good as a human being. I am
I can
not
relate
in
to
a
that.
pantsuit and a jacket. That is awesome. I'm not in whatever you guys wear. If
Sadness.
Sadness. I'm not clothed in sadness. Although that would be an interesting costume.
It would be.
The cloak of sadness.
A symbol of oppression.
Yeah. But some of feeling powerful is feeling sexy. That is definitely a part of it. But feeling sexy is not necessarily about how many dicks can I hop on this convention. Feeling sexy is about how most of mainstream culture makes you feel like you are repulsive just because you happen to have been born with lady parts. And then you go to a convention and people are coming up and be like, you look really good. You don't expect them to be like, you look really good. How much?
Yeah.
You know, you expect that it's... I personally, especially in my younger, thinner days, would go to conventions just for the ego boost when it comes to the cosplaying. And I don't mean that in a negative way of like, I must suck the power from the men's skulls to boost my ego. I mean, people were so friendly. In normal daily life, you run across a lot of assholes, and then you go to conventions, no matter what you're dressed up in, somebody's gonna come up and be like, dude, you look awesome!
Yeah, you're like a rock star.
Yeah.
And not only that, but like when I see some of my favorite like characters, like when I saw She-Hulk,
Yeah.
I was
yeah.
like, dude! And I
Yeah.
ran up and I was like, dude, can I please take a picture with you? I love She-Hulk. She was like, of course! And then we just posed for the camera, you know? And I'm sure, like, I'm not going to assume that's what she thinks, but, you know, how cool is the feeling that you go around as someone's favorite character and then do a cool strike a pose together and then you walk off and be like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
You know?
Completely. So there's all of that with it. What it's not for, winding back to the beginning of the episode here, for 95% of women, because I'm sure that there will always be exceptions, I don't want to make universal statements, but for 95% of women, it is not for seeing how fast I can get into somebody's pants. And here's why. I know a lot of you are like, yeah, but if they're dressed like that, that means they want it. Here's the thing. If they're dressed like that, it probably took a team of 4, a minimum of 2 hours to get them into that outfit, because it's really hard to do with the more intricate cosplays. The last thing they want is some drooling stranger to walk up and mess up all that work.
Yeah.
If you think that you're doing well by hitting on the woman who appears to be showing the most skin, which to show that much skin is actually really difficult because there's a lot of tape involved, and there's a lot of things to cover other things. It's hugely difficult.
It's like a labyrinth.
It really is. And getting in and out of that, especially if you want to be able to recreate that effect later, hours of time. I am not exaggerating when I say hours of time on that. If you actually are looking for someone who, like, I wonder who at this convention is hoping to get some strange, find some lady that actually did show up in her pantsuit and threw on, you know, a Harry Potter scarf, and to telling everybody like, yeah, I'm grown up Hermione who's kind of gone to seed because my job sucks now. That lady is interested probably, because she just came from work, she's doing a token effort, but we gotta stop the conversation, don't we?
She does want to see your wand.
And I think that's an important thing for guys that are trying to flirt with women to recognize, like, if she looks like it took a team of artists to put her together, wait until tomorrow to talk to her when she's just in a t-shirt and jeans. Tell her how much you respect what she was doing, etc., then try and strike up a conversation. But you do not want to be one of the drooling masses that's come up and like, can I just lick your arm? I have seen this happen.
Yeah. As much as people love zombies, they don't like when you act like one.
No,
you know? You got a zombie run. But yeah, but the cosplayers that I've talked to, you know, sometimes I'll ask them, like, you know, why do you pick this costume for today? And they'll be like, oh, this one was actually comfortable. I can move around, you know.
Yeah.
And there's certain ones, like, they'll like the way it looks, but it's like, it's really a hassle to wear. Like, some of the Poison Ivy costumes, they're like, my leaves are falling off everywhere, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that makes a big difference.
Yeah, well, that's why you often have a lot of people, especially with more professional cosplayers, that'll have a day costume and an evening costume. So you'll have something that you can actually navigate your way through the nerd mall, as I call the dealer's room, during the day that, you know, might be some more like what I'm wearing right now. And then you'll have that, like, okay, team, let's make it happen. Get some work done here.
It's like the NASCAR thing.
Pretty much, yeah. It's amazing. That's part of the reason why they do so much community stuff with the people that are taking it really seriously. So guys, I know it seems like it's all about your dick because, wow, a lot of these ladies, not all of them, are really pretty. And for the ones that aren't pretty, please stop walking up and saying they're fat, skanks, and ugly, because you're an asshole. You're a dick wolf, as a matter of fact. You know, let everybody just exhibit whatever character that they have fun with, but don't ask if you can lick someone. Do not try and do a photo where you're doing this thing, where you're just going to do the hover hands or pretend so that you have a photo that looks like you were groping. I hate that one the most.
Yeah.
That bothers me so much. Don't actually grope someone, because they're not doing it because they're strippers. They're doing it for every other reason we just listed.
Yeah. I've actually seen that. It was
Hover
so
hands thing?
well. It was like a fake kiss thing, and it was really awkward and creepy.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, it's like I forgot what his reasoning was. Like, I want to make my girlfriend jealous. Can you just like pretend to kiss me or whatever? Like, she was cool or whatever. But even she was like afterwards, she was like, that was really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And ladies will talk about you. Like, seriously, one of the number one topics of conversation for women at conventions, especially by the end of Saturday, is, so who's creeped on you?
Yeah.
I mean, and if you're really bad, there's no so who's creeped on you. It's, by the way, just so you know, to any other woman that's in cosplay, just so you know, dude over there in the Stark t-shirt, just don't even get within 5 feet of him.
Oh, I know. You should have seen what he did earlier. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I saw him doing that hover hands thing on you.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not cool.
Stay away.
The final thing that I want to bring up, because this is also significant, is a lot of people don't like cosplayers now because of the professionalization of it. It used to be, like in the 90s, you could spend 5-10 hours at the most on your costume, and you'd show up and everyone would be like, you look awesome, yay! Yeah. And now that it's become kind of professionalized, where there are people that do it full time, there's a bitterness factor coming in of people like, damn it, I used to get that type of yay for my 5 to 10 hours, and now I look like crap when I'm standing next to someone who spent 100 hours or more on theirs. And there's always been a minority of people that took it really seriously and did amazing things, but they were like at a competition level that wasn't that common. Like everybody, you just kind of looked at them like, glad that's your thing.
It's like even more niche in an already niche thing.
Whereas now it's become interestingly, not mainstream, but very common for people to spend 20, 30, literally 100 hours making an amazingly intricate costume. And that makes all the people that only want to spend 5 or 10 hours to half-ass it feel like shit.
Yeah.
And I don't blame you for feeling like shit because you're like, I don't want to put that effort in. I don't either. I bought this dress, to be honest with you, and I love it, because I'm not going to put the time and effort it took in to make even this. Little Pearl on Etsy, excellent shop. But you're not going to put that genie back in the bottle, so stop being horrible about it. You can't just say, you know what, you are no longer allowed to spend more than 10 hours making your costume because it makes me feel bad when you do it really well.
Yeah,
it's lazy and stupid.
One of those things is like, at some point you have to be an adult, and just like acknowledge and if anything, just admire that, wow, you put that much time into your costumes. Like, yours can still be cool too. It doesn't have to be like, wow, you should be working in Hollywood to the level of your costume. Like, every level of fandom is appreciated, whether you're wearing a t-shirt or like you're wearing a dress where it's like, it's cosplay, but it's also like regular wear.
Evocative cosplay is what I'd like to, not evocative, but this is not traditional cosplay, this is a geeky dress. Yeah.
And it's like, and all of that is cool, and it's like, not everyone has to look like they just walked off the set of The Dark Knight,
Or The Dark Crystal, that'd be amazing.
Ah, yeah. David Bowie.
Skitsy.
Oh, never mind.
That's okay. I've actually seen some amazing David Bowie Labyrinth cosplays.
Oh, yeah.
And it's always hysterical. You're like, so is that real? I mean, it's hard not to ask, because most people really just stuff the heck out of it for, disturbing and amusing purposes. But
from column A, a little from column B.
But the point being, A, don't get upset if someone's cosplay looks nicer than yours. Yeah, they put a lot more effort into it. You don't suck. You just have other things you're doing with your time. B, don't assume that if someone is dressed in as little as this or as little as a cosplay that has very few pieces of fabric, that means that she is there for sale or even worse, for free. Because you're wrong. And C, ladies are in it for a completely different reason than men. And the reason that the ladies are in it are good reasons for men to get involved too.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just like, I'm a huge supporter of cosplay. Like, I just love it. So, I don't know. I always encourage people, if you haven't done it, go ahead and try it. And if you're already doing it, keep on doing it. And don't let, like, people that are, if there's people that are sexist or they're just assholes in general, like, don't let them discourage you.
Yeah. Got anything else?
Make friends with as many people as you can at these conventions, especially cosplayers, because they are some of the coolest people out there that you will meet.
Anybody that actually makes something, man, it doesn't matter if it's cosplay, or if they're, crocheting amiguri, if they've got a 3D printer and they've got a thing that they made out of that. The guys in the 501st, I'm not even a Star Wars fan, and I have so much respect for the 501st because it's all stuff they've made themselves. They tend to donate a lot of things to charities, and those are the people you want to walk up and talk to. Ignore the guys in the Dick Wolves t-shirts or whatever else, they're provocative and trying to be offensive. Yeah. And go find the makers. Because the people that have actually made something, whether it's a cosplay or, anything but a Dick Wolf.
Necklaces, books, all that stuff is there. You'll find all that cool stuff.
And you'll make some friends. It's really shockingly easy to make friends at conventions. We promise.
I make jokes.